Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Come with me to do homework. This is a day in my life. I didn't bring my microphone. But anyways, come with me to do homework and just spend the day with me as I take a few reset days. This is just me studying and doing my schoolwork. As you can see, I'm like eating and drinking and stuff, but yeah. I feel like the hardest part about like when you follow God is definitely being obedient. It's definitely really hard because you want to do what you want to do. But I feel like once you take that step into obedience, you can take that like step with God, you're literally doing everything that He wanted you to do in the first place. And excuse you. Sometimes it's hard for me to be obedient because sometimes I just want to do what I want to do, and I realize I can't do that. So even I'll tell my man, I'm like, babe, like it's so hard. Like I just want to do this, this, and this, and he's like, well, you can't. Like he genuinely will clock my teeth real quick. You know what I mean? But give me 1 second. Right here, I'm just journaling and relaxing because I don't really journal a lot, to be honest, as much as I should. But now that I follow God, I kind of do it a little bit more. That's one of like my favorite things is to journal and write things out. I'm walking my dog. She won't. I don't know. She takes a long time to use the bathroom, but also I'm gonna show you guys like when I'm getting ready and stuff too, because I do not just lounge around all day because I'm not lazy. But yeah. What's up, YouTube? Okay, none of that. Let's not do that. Sorry. Okay. Okay, guys. Today, hey, lay down. You're okay. Just lay down right there. Don't you do it. Talk to my dog. Let's talk about why it's good to take it, like to take, um, why it's good to take breaks, but how you should take your breaks, and what should they look like. So let's make this personal experience about me. Let's make this experience about me. Yes, I'm pregnant. Ultrasound on the wall. Me and my man on the wall. Let's make this ultrasound. Let's make this a little about me, so nobody feels attacked or anything. But why it's like good to take breaks. Woo! I'm out of breath. We just went on a walk. Why it's good to take breaks is because when you don't take a break and you keep pushing yourself, it will lead to like you being really, really upset. So I was talking to God and I was like, God, like I'm so tired, but I feel like I need to keep going, like I can't go. There's a Bible verse that says, come to me, all those who are weary, and I will give you rest. It is in Matthew. I do not know. But what does it really mean to rest? How should you rest? And the rest looks different for everybody. Rest could be you laying down all day. But is that really rest, or is that you just I don't know how to say it, like not catching up on sleep, but just laying down because you don't feel like dealing with life. You know what I mean? Because listen, when you kind of stop living your life, you kind of forget who you are. And for a while, I did that. I stopped living my life. Going, I stopped doing things that I loved. I stopped drawing. I really love writing stories. I love writing poems. I even stopped doing my Bible study, which is something I absolutely love. I love spending time with God. I love being in the presence of God. But the hardest part for me was when I genuinely kept pushing myself. Girl! Oh! When I kept pushing myself at work. Let's do this. When I kept pushing myself at work, when I kept going out of my way for like when not pushing myself at work, but I literally kept pushing myself. Like I need more, I need to do more, I need to do this and I need to do that, and I kept doing need to do this and I need to do that, and I was literally on the verge of like and mind you, I'm pregnant too, so it was like all the schoolwork and stuff, like not being able to catch up on my schoolwork because I was so focused on work. But here's the thing, this is what rest looks like for me. Today, my reset day consisted of me. I was gonna sleep in. I was gonna sleep the whole day, but I was like, that's not gonna do anything. I had a friend call me this morning, and she literally spoke life into me, and she was like, "Girl, you cannot sit in your sadness. I get it, but also at the same time, I understand your sadness, but make sure you're up and you're moving." And so I got up and I moved around, and oh, you are so cute sometimes, even though you're a pug. My pug is kind of ugly. Come here. We kind of look alike though, but I'm not ugly. Face card never declined. Um. Okay. Um. Oh yeah. Okay. But realizing that I couldn't sit here and I couldn't keep pushing myself so hard, and I was just like, I literally am on like a point of like and so like LPCU, which is my Bible college, I didn't have time for my schoolwork, right? And I realized that like I couldn't make my payments because I was focused on putting everything above that, and I realized that I had to get my priorities straight, right? So rest for me today, it literally looked like going, I was gonna sleep in, like I said. It looked like me going to a cafe. I got myself breakfast and I actually ate a full meal. um I drank a lemonade, I drank some water, which I'm gonna drink some right now because when you're pregnant you're always thirsty. Oh, that is your man, that is your man. But literally, what did rest look like? Like, it literally just looked like me going up and out about my day, but without pressuring myself to keep pushing myself, right? So if school was something, if literally sitting in a calm, peaceful cafe, which is called Renegade Coffee, which were so sweet, bro. They were so sweet. It's in Phoenix, Arizona. They were so sweet. And I literally just had to sit there. I did all of my schoolwork. I caught up. I talked to another friend for a little bit. And I realized that I was not putting the things of God first. And that is why I felt stressed. So rest looks different for everybody. But what I recommend is not sitting down all day and not sitting in it and not sleeping all day, because it's not going to make you really feel any better unless you're genuinely to the point of exhaustion. I totally get it. But genuinely still get up and still move, even if it's cleaning or even if it's picking up your house or even if it's just taking a shower, even if it's just brushing your teeth. Get up and do something, because I realized that if I probably would have sat in that all day, I still would have been sad. And now that I'm up moving and I had walked my dog and I had got a little bit of sunlight and I had went to a cafe and I had journaled, I feel a lot better because I realized that those are the things, that's life right there. Not working so hard to the point of like, oh my gosh, push, and like with my baby and stuff, and doing like, I mean literally doing, I mean everything I can, doing everything I can to make sure that like I'm doing this good, I'm doing this good, I'm doing this. No, no ma'am, no ma'am, nobody's here, you're okay. No, 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 no. So making sure that I'm doing everything I can to actually push myself and not wait, making sure I'm doing everything I can to make sure that I'm doing this good and I'm doing this okay. But okay, am I actually, it's like, really, am I taking care of myself, or am I just literally sitting in all of my self-pity? Like, I feel like there's a difference between actually being, depression is, I've dealt with depression. I was dealing with depression for years. I was self-harming. I was doing a bunch of stuff, y'all. A bunch. Literally spent like 4 years of my life high all the time, right? Because I was so depressed. But actually, when I had got out of that funk, and hey, they're just passing the window. It's okay. When I had got out of that funk and I had sat still and I had prayed and I was like, God, I need help. I don't understand what's going on. He was like, okay, girl, this is what we need to do. First of all, you need to focus on me. Put me first. Pray in everything that you do. Literally pray, 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 pray. And that's all I did. That's literally all I did. All I did was pray at first. I didn't start reading the Bible until like 3 months into after I started praying. That's when I started reading the Bible. And I was like, okay, Lord, show me this, this, and this. And I read the New Testament. I didn't start the Old Testament because the Old Testament, woo! I would not survive it. No, I would not. I'm probably gonna cut that out. Nope, unedited. We're raw over here. Yeah, I realized that like literally, I have to live life, but I shouldn't be pushing myself and moving mechanically. But I also should submit to the things that God put in my life. Like, I should be doing what God told me to do in the first place, right? But for a while, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't submitting any of my schoolwork. I wasn't helping people like I used to. I wasn't talking to people really. I shut down and I just said, F everybody. F this, I'm not going to do this. And I got so alone and I got so in my head that I stopped doing everything that I should have been doing in the first place. And that was literally taking care of myself and making sure that I'm putting God in front of everything. And literally the thing is my fiance, he was like, well, mm, my man, well, my husband was telling me, he was like, girl, you just got to keep going. Like, he was not keep going. He was like, you, the only thing you do is Shekinah, you work, you go to church, and you go to school. Like, what are you doing to actually, like, something that actually, like, what are you doing that you actually enjoy? And I was like, I kind of stopped doing everything I enjoyed. He said, exactly, that's the point. Like, there's things that God has done. He brought up a Bible verse to me. He said, Psalms 119, 119:7. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, right? I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. He said, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. You're creative and you do all this stuff, but yet you don't. You need to keep you need to keep going, but stop pushing yourself to the point to where you're getting angry at people and you're snapping at people and you're reading too much into things I don't know if you read into. And I was like, okay, I get it, I get it. And he was like, you know what? He was like, you know what? I 100% understand though, because he's gotten to that point too, to where he kept pushing himself, and he was just so tired. But what looks like for him is he's such like a person that doesn't know how to stop pushing himself, that he feels like he needs to do everything. It's just like, oh, you know what I mean? I'm like, babe, you need to take a break. You need to take a break. You're fine. It's okay to take a break. Like, it's okay to take a break, but what does that break look like? Does that look like being lazy all day? Not lazy, but procrastinating on things that you should have been doing because you've been putting work ahead of them. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, what does rest genuinely look like to you? Like I said, if it's genuine, absolute, pure exhaustion, by all means, please sleep all day. But if it's things that you should have been doing that God had asked you to do, you should probably be doing those things, even if it's sitting down at a computer and doing this, this, and this, or something like this. But if, like I'm saying, like, if you're pushing yourself and you're allowing things that aren't as, how do I put it? Not as important. If your priorities aren't straight, let's put it that way. Like me, for me, it was school. That was something I was really, really into at first, but I let everything else get in the way and I stopped focusing on that and my life got crazy. So, do you know what I'm saying? Am I making sense? Do you know what I'm saying? Am I making sense? I hope I'm making sense. If I'm not making sense, you better make it make sense. Because I don't know if I'm making sense, but if I'm making sense, I'm making sense. Okay, okay, honey boo boo. But don't let life get in the way of you doing what's good for you and you doing what God asked you to do. Right? Right. Praise the Lord. But anyways, guys, that's it. I love you tomorrow.